To show it tonight. I'm so happy that you're here. And we're going to open up right now, 6:33. We're going to start with prayer. Although this is not a religious organization, I happen to be a born-again, tongue-talking, Bible-believing Christian. So I do things like this, but don't feel uncomfortable if you would rather not pray with me, although we're in church. If you'd rather not, please do not feel uncomfortable at all. If you want to step out, you can come right back in. We won't think anything of it. So the entire way to you, I'm going to ask you to stand and pray with me. Thank you very much. Heavenly Father, I pray in the name of the Lord Jesus that this plan to advance this community of Aetna and Manor will be accomplished only as you have ordained for it to be, that we do nothing for recognition or acceptance of men now or ever, but that you are glorified in every thought, effort, and deed, that those whom you have ordained for this tank and this group will be filled with your spirit of wisdom and revelation, that you not only give us love for and favor with each other, but that you cause men to favor us when they were indifferent or intended to do harm, that you protect us from the hand of the enemy, that none of us will be lost, but will see the fulfillment of this plan come to pass, that you will enlighten the eyes of our understanding so that business is conducted effectively and efficiently and order is maintained. And Father, that you call in and you cast out, you purge and you purify. Move personalities and politics and personal agendas aside so that the good of this community, this district, and this city can flourish in accordance with your will and your plan. Even me, Lord, if I do not concede and cooperate with your divine order and the assignment you've given me in this community, and I know you are always gracious to correct me by your spirit, but if I fail to heed your voice, move even me and anoint another to advance your plan. In the name of Jesus, I pray that you would always be glorified. And I don't want to be a part of anything, none of us want to be a part of anything that you've not ordained for us to do. That we partner together, Father, to give you glory. Lord God Almighty, be glorified in the name of Jesus. Amen. You may be seated. I'd like to have you all, if you would not mind, I'm going to make it a little uncomfortable if you just get close enough so that if you have a question or comment, our monitor, I'm going to introduce Kim Collins, who's helping this evening to maintain order as we need it. We should, because we're all adults here, and we all like to be courteous to one another as we're speaking and engaging. So Kim, would you mind coming up front so everybody can see you? And if you want to use your talking stick or your air horn, feel free to bring it on up. So you may think this is kind of an overkill, but we were potentially expecting about 80 people this evening. Where we like. Come on. Yes, somewhere thereabouts. So of course you know how we do. Everybody doesn't show up, and if you're going to have a party and you want to have 20 people there, how many of you invite? Don't worry. Right. Patrice, you should have a name tag back there. Come on up and take a spot. We may need another chair for you. Come on, take the spot. Come on right in here. You can take it. Squeeze in with us. And please don't think me rude if I happen to look down at my phone while we're doing this. Of course, my dad gets my first phone call. So if Daddy calls me, everybody goes on hold. Or if my husband calls, of course, everybody goes on hold. But I won't be rude. Okay, this is one of our tank members who's not going to be here tonight. This Otto, he'll be absent. And back there, just checking everybody in, that's my Aunt Robin here, so she's helping us out. Thanks, Aunt Robin! So she's helping us out this evening. I want to share just a little bit with you all as you're getting comfortable and situated. So, although if you have an agenda in your hand, wave it at me, make sure. Zuli, what are you doing over there? I need to get you up here. Come, can you get right in here?
I can move the chair out the way.
Yeah, we're going to slide her over. Where are you most comfortable? Okay. Come on, well, just fit on in here somewhere, so now and we'll put your name tag. Okay, let me get out of the way.
get the,
Okay.
there we go.
Okay. Okay, Mom said she had her too anyway. So we're gonna stick you right up here next to, although it says McKinney.
You're not the right sweetheart, this one is.
Okay. So how many of you do not know exactly what this plan is about? Okay, good. So everybody knows pretty well. So here's where we are, and we're going to run right now through the agenda. You may notice it looks a little lengthy, but we're going to make sure we expedite time very well. So I wanted to introduce all of those who are working with the tank for us, so you know exactly who the people are that are representing this plan. And Aunt Robbie, I think I need Otto Schultz's name tag because he's going to be absent. May I have that one? Up front, I don't know who else will be absent, but there are 22 people that's working on this work group think tank we call affectionately the tank. 3 of them are actually remote participants, so one lives in Texas, the other in South Carolina, and the other in Fort Wayne, here in Indiana. So they will be working with us remotely. Yeah, I know those. We can put it anywhere. We'll squeeze in a spot somewhere. Thank you. So you notice all the ones here, the ones that are actually remote, their name tags are down. But I put these all up here so everybody would know who's actually here. Go ahead. Okay, he won't need one.
Okay.
So everybody else has a nameplate that should be sitting up here. Okay.
And the young lady here.
Who's that there?
Oh, Nikia.
I'm sorry.
Nikia.
Oh, hi, Nikia. Oh, she won't need a name
It's okay.
tag.
I
She won't need a name tag, not yet. Thank you all. Okay. All right, here we are. Let's introduce ourselves. Jennifer, may I start with you? Just give us a little detail down at the far end.
I'm Jennifer Long. I've been at Aetna.
You can just pass the microphone down. And let's take maybe about a minute or less.
My name is Jennifer Long. I've been in Aetna 40 plus years. I stay on 13th, right off Idaho. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm ready to get Aetna back to where it was so it could become the family town that it was when I first moved here.
I'm David Keck. I'm a financial advisor with Berry Financial Group in Merrillville. I've lived in the Miller Beach community for about 5 years total. Oops, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, I'm kind of getting over a cold right now too. So Penelope asked me to come along and anything that comes up, any grants or anything like that, how best to advise to invest them and make some money. To put back into the community. So.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Martina Montgomery, and I've known Penny forever. We used to work together as well as Kim. But this is my friend, Mr. Franklin Marks. We had met earlier, Penny and Jasmine, and they told us about the exciting news of what you guys are doing out here in Aetna and would like to be a part of it. I basically have just started a temporary staffing agency in the city of Gary, and I'm doing my research in the community to see who's doing what and looking for positions to fill and looking for talent. So I look forward to working with all of them.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Harrington. I am the CEO of Violent Mentors. We work downtown Gary. That's how I met Kenya Dilworth, so I'm her proxy for tonight.
Good evening. My name is Sue Alvarado, and I'm with Causes for Change. It's my nonprofit that I founded a little over 20 years ago, and I moved to the city of Gary 6 years ago. And since living here in Gary, of course, I met Penny, and I've been very involved as a result of my interest in looking at the spaces and areas that are inaccessible throughout the city of Gary, particularly in terms of the interest of looking at for persons who are blind, deaf, hard of hearing, low vision, intellectual disabilities, meaning that no one should be left out of including in all types of activities and services and resources. So when I speak of persons with disabilities, making sure that we're all included at all levels, in every aspect, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marge Woodyard. I've lived in Aetna since 1956 in the same house. And my kids went to Aetna school. I didn't, I was too old. But it's a lovely neighborhood. I love my neighbors, and I want Aetna to come back. Please.
Hello everyone, I'm Jasmine Harry Bell. I recently moved to the Aetna community a couple months ago with my husband. I am a published author. I also taught dance to children for some years. And I love Mama Penny, and I just want to help her and all of you guys just rebuild Aetna. It was very exciting to read about the history, and I just want it back because I want to live here and hopefully raise a family here. So thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Patrice Lawson. My connection to Aetna is my husband grew up in Aetna, and I taught the last year Aetna Elementary was open, and I just retired with 15 years in Gary Community School, so I'm listed as an educator.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Round of applause for doing all this. Would you guys pass that today? This is not a formal setting. Please don't think of it as formal at all. So just be comfortable, relaxed. Because I'm, most of you that know I'm not formal about stuff usually. Okay. Oh, did I do the wrong thing? Okay. See, I'm not formal about stuff. So we are recording apparently. Hey y'all, what's up, Sonny, Kim? See, told you it wasn't formal. Anyway, you wonder how we're going to get through all this agenda, right? And people keep going on this sidebar here. All right, so we've had everybody introduce themselves that are here right now. So in absence right now, those that are absent you can just refer to your agenda there. Right up under Roman number 1 is introducing. What I want you guys to actually do as the audience or as the public is we're going to be engaging. We're going to have some dialogue up here. You just feel free to jump in if you have a question or a concern. So nothing's going to be really formal other than this is what I need to ask you guys. So we're already in. We've already made the decision that this is what we'd like to see happen in Aetna, but those of you that are sitting in the audience, some of you signed the petition, and we'll discuss that a little further later, to have the Performing Arts Academy or have Aetna Elementary School be acquired, reconstructed, and repurposed as a Performing Arts Academy. So if you did not sign that petition, I'm going to need you to make sure you get to Martina, and she'll know a little later as I explain to her. But this is Martina right there. Martina introduced herself already. Raise your hand, you see her name tag, her name plate there in front. But we'll need you to sign the petition. And if you're really interested in seeing this plan come into fruition. So all the names listed back to the tape are those that are persons represented here. Everybody else knows. Does anyone have any questions before we start engaging in conversation? Nope? Okay. So let's start. I don't know if we just need to, will you be able to pick us up without using the microphone, or do I need to keep using it?
Be better with the microphone.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
Anybody else pass the mic around.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll comply. All right, so Roman number 2, so that's for the tank. I'd like to sit myself, but anyway. The performing arts, what do you guys think about this? Because we hadn't discussed this as of yet, but I did mention to Otto and Dave Castellanos. I think I started talking to Jen about it, I don't remember. But also Joey. We were talking about not only using the building for Performing Arts Academy, but also incorporating fine arts and visual arts. And Joey couldn't be here tonight to go into the details of exactly how distinct the difference is between visual arts and fine arts. And, well, listen, drum roll, please. Yolanda's going to explain it. Bring it on.
Okay, so performing arts are things like singing, acting, improv, sometimes like writing, developing sets, things like that. So think like theater, television, those are performing arts. Dancers like Jasmine, those are performing art. Fine arts, that would be me, painting, sculpting, creating pieces that are functional and visually appealing to our community and in our homes. That's stuff that fine arts would represent. Artists in different areas usually have very distinct characteristics in the things that they use. So if you think of like, for example, Native Americans, and what you guys would probably consider folk art is still considered fine art. They use the materials that are in their areas, or the emotional or visual muses that are in their areas to create art that get people interested in what these objects and things are. So I'm hoping that with the Aetna building that you would consider some fine arts programming, because children, especially little girls, really flourish when they have something to do with their hands and they can get physically involved in something very rewarding and seeing something that you made be put to good use or to purpose. So I'm really interested in seeing how that will develop at
Excellent,
building.
excellent. Okay, any questions about that from Yolanda? Okay, what do you guys think? So the majority of our tank is not here, obviously, but we can't forego not making decisions in the absence of others. So what we're going to have is we're going to come right back after we move through. Wait a minute, let me see, because Dave, I've got you where, because I really wanted to. Okay, Dave, you're going to be, when we get to Roman number 4, so I'm going to bring you in at that point. Okay. So how many of you right now think that would be a good idea? You have any questions about it? What do you think about incorporating not only performing arts, but visual fine arts as well? Is that a nod, everybody? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Because that's going to require a little more detail about what we want to do. You're going to say something else?
She was going to say
go ahead.
fashion design.
Yeah, because one of the things that when we're live, as a fashion designer, I had my own boutique. I designed and I did a fashion. Yes, as a fashion designer. So of course, I'm curious about where fashion design fall in. If that's a fine art.
It's a fine art.
Fine art.
That's fashion.
What do I know?
A lot of skill to do that.
Fashion design, and with, of course, with fashion design comes illustrators, comes sewing, seamstress, everything else.
Okay, listen, this is too much for me to wrap my head around right now. I'm trying to make sure we get in this building.
Yeah,
So-
fashion. Yeah, I love fashion.
As long as we know what we're working toward,
Yes,
that's
yes,
exactly
yes.
excellent.
And you wanted to know about ceramics. So.
Yes.
Marge, you asked about ceramics?
Oh, yeah, I just was wondering whether or not.
Because that would be part of the fine arts as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's
okay.
also
Because we
considered
do
a
have
trade,
a-
too.
It's what?
It's also a trade.
A trade?
A
Okay.
lot of fine arts activities and programming and things like that a lot of fine arts activities and programming and things like that with, appropriate instructors and volunteers, you can actually start gearing kids towards trades that are more creative, that can make them a lot of money,
That's excellent.
you know?
Okay.
Let me just add, as one of the issues of compliance regarding accessibility, can we all agree that a microphone will always be used as part of our communication access?
We'll try to do that for sure.
Thank you.
We will try to do that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If Pinnacle of Faith will let us come back in and be so accommodating, they've been wonderful. Thank you. Let's see here. So we're all in agreement that we would like to do that. Now look there at Roman number 2, letter B, Aetna Community Club, because part of our plan includes not only acquiring or trying to acquire the elementary school, but also trying to acquire the Aetna Community Club. And Dave's going to address that some more because he had an idea that we discussed when he and Jen and I met a few weeks back, but we'll come right back to that. But let me tell you this, under the Aetna Manor Revitalization Program, anybody who does not know about Aetna Manor Revitalization, let me tell you what that is. Have you not heard of that? Okay, I need him to sign in right there. And grab a nameplate, please. Anyway, but through our project called The Remix, we're working to actually revitalize downtown Aetna. So part of that revitalization effort would incorporate acquiring the community club already. So it may be a redundancy, kind of an overlap perhaps, with what we're trying to do with funding Aetna's future FAF. So we can look further into that, and we're gonna, as Dave chooses to help us along with that. So we'll come right back to that, but we're not gonna put that to the back burner because all of you kind of remember, anyone who has not met Naomi Millender, she's recently transitioned from this life. But one of the things Naomi was really attentive to us, reminded me about, even within her last few days of being here on this earth, make sure you get the Ethnic Chamber of Commerce. So we'll talk some more about that a little later.
Yeah.
Okay, so letter C, we're still in Roman numeral 2. You need me? You can just talk to me. We're not in church, don't put your finger up. Okay, under letter C, community emergency shelter. And that would incorporate 1, the emergency preparedness classes, emergency provisions, medical law enforcement. And this, what I had in mind with this, come on up, Will.
I got it here.
You got a spot? Can we fit you in somewhere?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Aunt Robbie. Will, did you meet my Aunt Robbie? Okay, we didn't talk about this yet, but what I was envisioning, some of you may know, other communities that have experienced disasters. Not that we're looking forward to having a disaster, but if something happened right here in this community that a large number of people needed to evacuate their homes, where would they go? That's local.
Probably in Chicago, nowhere.
Local? No. So if we're going to acquire this building, we could also use it, and of course at some point, and back today, get some grant funding to support a community effort toward emergency management. So that if there was a large group of people that needed to immediately evacuate their homes, they'd have a place to go, a central location. And we will be able to set them up with water, whatever the essentials are to maintain life for whatever number of days. Usually, I don't know if that's 7, but it's been a while since I did FEMA training. You remember? Kim? No, you don't remember, okay. Who else did FEMA? Anybody else did FEMA training or Red Cross, emergency? You remember how long?
Well, you know, with the Department of Health,
May I take this back to her?
under the Department of Health, they have the emergency preparedness program, you know,
Yeah.
which is under the federal government's
Okay.
CDC, so we need to collaboration with that.
That works. Somebody wrote that down? Oh, we got to record it, so we have to go back. Thank you, Karen. Zay, thanks for bringing Karen. Karen, thanks for bringing Zay. All right, excellent. So we know how we can possibly go about making that happen. Are we in favor of doing something like that? Is that a big yes? Head nod? Okay. All right, yeah. Is there what? Is there a basement in the school? No, there's no basement in the school. Okay. You're talking about we need to put a basement in the school?
No,
What
I'm
do you
just
think?
asking, you said something about a place where people could go for, you know, in case of an emergency.
Okay, then it may need a basement. So that's something we'll have to come back. We'll have to come back to that.
You need a backup generator for something like that as well.
And a backup generator, okay.
Lose power. I know for my house.
Do you need a microphone?
I know for my house, I have a Generac, 17 kVA, that runs off natural gas. So we had winter, because my neighborhood was always losing power. That thing would kick on and
Right.
runs ever so often, but just something to think about. Usually, lately, most storms, folks are losing power.
Right, okay. So that's what we make sure. So by the time we get ready to do something like that with the Department of, what did you tell me?
Department of Health.
The Department of Health, that would be part of the design, even if it needed a basement, I know obviously generator, we would always have that, so it would be something modern that's going to be able to sustain. So we would have all those kind of essentials, I'm sure. But that's gonna be a little way down the line, but that's still part of what I'd like for us to consider when I show you some other things over here on my little flip chart. Okay, now, right there, letter D, this will be kind of and make a little note there for yourself, this would be like a stage or phase 2. And I know this seems a little crazy, but you guys know the concept of Head Start? You know, with the little kid.
Major deal, dude.
Major deal. I'm talking about cranium commencement. Okay, you get it? You get it, the play on words, right? Cranium, head, start, and commencement. Okay, that's the general idea. So you guys name it something else you think is gonna work better. Don't moan and groan me.
I want you guys to add to your note for D that Gary does not have very many programs that are Head Start oriented to accommodate the population of kids that are 4 and under.
Oh, wow.
And that this is a service that is under service currently in Gary. and that we need to try to work towards finding ways to do something called Pathways to Quality, which is an educational program through the state of Indiana, and we can also talk to Dave about what grant or opportunities are available for that, because that is a major deal. Getting kids involved between the ages of 2 and 4 is vital to their education. And if we can get them early, we can get them great. So this is something that you should like kind of stick a star next to.
Okay, excellent. This sounds like something we need to push up to the front of the, on our list. Okay, excellent. And so for all those points that Yolanda made, that was part of this whole plan for the cranium commencement. And I know it may sound a little elaborate, to use that term, but it's like taking these kids from preschool, 3 to 5 years old, what you said 2, they're going back to 2. Right here in Aetna, in our community, we have about 4,500 residents in this area. I think, how many you have, Mr. Cobb, in Glen Ryan? I think you're about
about 400 homes.
400, how many residents? I think you're probably a couple of thousand. And Miller is like about 9,000, somewhere in there. But in Aetna, like we have about 6 or 7 churches in Aetna, can you imagine? We actually do in this community, 6 or 7 churches. We have probably 6 or 7 daycare centers.
Yeah.
Home daycare centers. And we're going to discuss some more about that we were thinking about developing that to get those children that are already here. So we'll get to that as well, but I wanted to know what you thought about it. So everybody gave a nod, interested in cranium commencement or some sort of head start? Okay. Adult acuity, that would be a phase 3, and that's just kind of a lot of adults. Now, right now, everybody probably knows this, and I was probably the last one to hear about it, but Amazon just moved into our neighborhood. I don't know if they're, I don't know if they're in Aetna proper or exactly if that cuts off when we go over 15th Avenue, the bridge there. But if you've driven by there, you've noticed that in the parking lot, the parking lot is full. Where do all those people come from that fast?
They came from Chicago.
Why? Don't we have people living here?
Because the way that Amazon marketed that they had a facility in Gary area was not appropriate to market to the people that were in this area.
Okay.
The issue is that if you go to Work One or you go to Work One with our city or our state program, they try to gear people with a certain skill set to these jobs. Amazon didn't talk to Work One. That's something that they should have the city should have intercepted to make it possible for Work One to get people who are currently on unemployment or going through skilled service training to say, hey, this is new here, we want our residents working there.
Exactly.
They didn't do that. It was completely just poor marketing.
So here we are on this end of it, and we're looking to try to get some of our unemployed people, our residents, our neighbors, employed, but part of that
is most of them have the skill set. Most of them have the skill set and educational background that's required for the job. The issue is, like I said, when they first got here, they were understaffed. They were pulling from a certain mile radius.
Okay.
Whoever was responsible for allowing them to be on 15th, generally the city, would say, these are the resources that we have available to help you staff. They did not do that.
We didn't do that. Well, let me tell you what happened on this end from the A.M.R.P. Once we found out that Amazon had moved in, we sent them a welcome letter and asked them specifically, what types of jobs are you trying to fill so that we can make sure we hone our qualifications toward those jobs so that we can be ready to apply for them. Unfortunately, we may have missed the bus because, as I said, when I drive past, it's like the parking lot is completely full. But because of Amazon, go ahead, you're gonna make a point, Susan? Okay. Because we know Amazon is international, chances are they're gonna just keep growing and growing. You're gonna make a point?
And they pay $15 an hour.
Yes.
And they pay $15 an hour. But most of you know, if you live in this area, largely, well, my experience has been, and maybe I'm just living in a bubble a little bit, but a lot of the population within the demographics, maybe that age range usually, so probably from 18 to 35, somewhere in there, can they even, forgive me Lord if I say this and it offends anybody, can they even pass a P-test?
Well, there's two.
That's been part of our issue.
So let's answer that.
Well, let me come back. Let me come back to that, please. So a couple people that we have, as Martina and Kim mentioned, to actually our history, working in criminal probation through the criminal court system, and then of course me from the jail. Largely the problem has been with our population that we can't pass the basic, when I say we, that's just collectively. So to come back to this letter E for adult acuity with reading room, computer skills, smartphone, whatever the basics are, and then of course that feeds back into what Martina does for employment, getting people job ready. What can I do? When I go fill out that application, I'm not just coming in there begging and pleading and him and a hawing, please ma'am, will you give me a job? Basically all that amounts to is, will you give me $15 an hour, because I don't know what to do. So we want people to be ready. Okay.
So what I was gonna say was, the city of Gary, every one of our surrounding counties has an adult education program, but there is not one that's actually in the city. So what happens is, we miss opportunities to work with that demographic of people that may have dropped out or maybe had to quit school for whatever reason. They can't manage to get to or pay for the ability to take the TASC test. Work One has a program where they pay for the TASC test, but the people are required to have a certain amount of paperwork in order to get the stipend, if that makes any sense. I think Aetna could, if you're going to do this adult acuity, that you should include an adult education program and try to get our adults with high school equivalency tests, because sometimes it's the minimum requirement for a lot of employers that are local to us, and that's something else that we're kind of missing the bus on.
Okay, so we'll make sure we put a note on that. You follow what Kim says, so you're nodding, you have one to have something else.
Did you want the microphone?
No.
You agree?
Yeah, we're in agreement.
Great, so I'm William Godwin, owner of Godwin Realty Company, and thank you, Penny, for bringing us all together.
7:05.
7:05, and we're going to end at 8 o'clock, right?
Kim's watching our time.
So I'll be mindful. I want to recognize our Gary County Council President, Ron Brewer, who has joined us. So we are on item number 3, if I'm correct, acquiring the building / property. I think for those who were, this is on the second page at the very top, for those who were at our first meeting, which was at the Woodson Library, we talked about going to, then, I guess she's still technically, I guess she's still the emergency manager, she's retired, but going to Peggy Hinckley, and that letter is in your packet here, and asking for the building. We did not get a positive response to that request. I think we knew it was ambitious, but we do know that the building is obviously still for sale, and the current price is $625,000.
Oh, let's make that correction. $645,500.
Okay,
Make that $645,500.
So what increased the property value to
We
that?
don't know yet. I don't have any details beyond that. I just got this information.
Because that's a significant increase from 625 to 640.
Yes, it is.
Well, all of these numbers I think are ridiculous, in my own professional opinion. I know that the Calumet Township assessor, I believe, was involved in setting some of these prices. And I don't think anyone would think anywhere near that amount of money for the building. I think we're looking at it in terms of, we'd like for it to be donated, or at least in some kind of partnership. Maybe there's a public-private partnership we could explore, but I think we're open
Okay.
to
You
how
guys
we
agree
might
with that?
get the building.
Okay. What are you guys thinking? Your line of your face all squunched up. What are you thinking, Dave? We're coming to you, though. You want to address that later?
Okay, so here's the deal, Pickles.
Okay, deal.
$625K for the building is monstrous for the square footage for it, not just to be a commercial building, but because it needs work. I just would be interested in trying to find out the information. One, what increased the property value since the last time we asked for it. Two, how many other people are inquiring about this, because that can sometimes lead to, the boost in price, and somebody give you an offer, and is that offer viable?
Right.
The other thing would be, if you're talking about a partnership, I'm so sorry. I don't think that, I don't think that you should really partner up with anyone in this aspect. This should
what do
be
you think
completely
when you
communal.
say
And the
partner?
reason why I say that, the reason why I say it should be completely communal is because this area does not have a good history of people behaving in a way in accordance with what your overall purpose is.
Okay.
And then if we end up doing a partnership and we get the building, it seems like a victory, but we want it to be a long-term, permanent
Right.
situation.
Right.
We don't have currently anyone or any organization in the city of Gary that you can partner with that is ethically sound.
Well, that's what I'm asking for Will. What do you think
Like, I'm not-
about when you?
And forgive me, I just, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
but whatever he's putting on the table.
So-
So we're discussing it.
Yeah, so I mean, there
And
was.
you guys know you can chime in, just raise your hand if you got a question or comment.
Well, on a few points, to my knowledge, I don't even think there were any bidders on Aetna School. I went to the session that the emergency manager led, where those who did bid were able to present their proposals, and so we heard proposals on a lot of structures. We know that the city did buy, I believe, which school is it? The city bought one of the schools, Franklin School.
The city bought
The city bought the school, right, for $100,000.
Oh, redevelopment.
Redevelopment, but that was.
All right, I want to know.
But I think the list price was a lot higher than $100,000, right? So I think that there is some possibility, right, that even if we were to pay an amount, it might be a nominal amount. I think the concern, and when I talk about partnership, is even if they gave it to us for free, right, I think that the rehab, right, and what would take to do it, I don't know if anyone has, and I'm just throwing this out, $500,000, $1 billion or more, right, to make the building safe and up to code and to allow it to do all these things we want it to do. So when I say partner, I think that there are a myriad of ways that could happen. There is a way in which you can draw up the agreement, right? Once you have the ownership of it, or at least an entitlement to it, to make sure that you remain at the helm, right? If there's an advisory board that's created or a board that's created, you'll make sure you have the majority vote in that scenario. But we might imagine, I can't speak for anybody else, but there might be a city entity that might be open to helping the organization place a bid on it. That's a request that could be made to redevelopment, or other agencies that have that power, purchasing power. Maybe even Gary Housing Authority. Who knows, depending on how you incorporate this vision with their mission, right? So I think that there's a lot of ways we can go about it, but we have to be open-minded. Because unless somebody has $1 million, even if they gave it to us, we gotta do a lot of build-out. So I think we could imagine partnering within the city, but also we could imagine, we got a lot of companies that are moving to the area. Many companies do have a corporate citizenship responsibility, and they build that into their company. And so they might be willing, whether it's donating materials, donating volunteer time to help rehab the facility. So it's a myriad of ways I think we can think about it. Now, I hear your point, that we obviously want to maintain control of it. We don't want someone else's vision to sweep ours, out from underneath us. But I think there's a way in which we can do it to both maintain control, but also be realistic about the financial realities. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Any questions or comments?
So I think maybe a potential next step is that we still need to really analyze, I think, what the cost would be. And we might want to look at some of our partners like Lee Construction. I say partners loosely, but those who work in that field, who are in our area, to maybe give us, maybe they may volunteer an estimate of what it would take to restore the building at different levels of restoration. Maybe even might start with a part of the building, and then kind of grow from there, show proof of concept, and then continue to develop the building as funds become available. So we might approach them to get an estimate on how to do that, and what are the environmental issues. I'm sure there's tons of mold, and there's no telling what's all in the building that would need to be corrected in order to make it safe. So I think that's the first next step. We need to know what it is we're dealing with. Secondly, I think, and we perhaps could partner with them, but also we could talk to Forms and Function, which is also on Lake Street, 642 South Lake Street, which is an architecture and design firm. So we might talk to Roz Mitchell about helping us visualize what this would look like. So we'd have our costs, we'd have a vision for what it will look like, and then we would package that and then present that to the school system, right? To say, hey, here's our vision, here's our plan. Even if we're offering to pay a nominal dollar for it, or $1,000 for it, here's our plan. We would also take that to those potential partners, you know, whether it's Gary Housing Authority, whether it's redevelopment, or whether it's Amazon, or whoever, different companies that are in the area, to see if we have thought partners who align with our vision. So I think in terms of the building, we gotta be able to create a visual for people, now cost, and then we gotta sell that to the potential partners that we need in order to make it happen.
Question, who owns this building again? Is this the
Schools,
Gary's Public School Board? Any other questions or comments?
What are the plans to do with the building? Once you acquire the building, what are you all's plans to do?
So we talked about the Performing Arts Center is the main idea, and I think some of these other pieces here would be doing a preschool. So if you look at on, I don't know, do you have a copy?
All these right here, purple
Okay.
building under your, that's Roman numeral 2 for everybody?
Okay.
Roman numeral 2.
So we would be looking at the, now let me make sure I'm clear. The cranium commencement would also be,
It's like a head start.
right, would be in this building.
Yeah.
So we have to think about, okay, so who are, you know, who are our potential partners who kind of operate in that space that might help us? Who are the arts partners that, you know, even arts funding, Legacy Foundation and others who are interested in arts funding potentially would be the ones we would want to come in the room when we make our presentation. We want to have all of our folks aligned, right? And then sort of an understanding that this is the money that's going to take and this is how the dollars are going to come in. We could even go to Legacy, right, and ask for a grant. But they're going to want to see that we've engaged community, local businesses, and companies, and the city, that we're all sort of on the same page.
Hang on. You got, hang on, labels. Hang on, Hank. Okay. All right. You guys want to share something? We want to hear what you want to say.
I just was wondering if
Let Mark.
Indian. I don't think I need a microphone.
You know.
I just was wondering whether or not Indiana University's art department, their drama department, theater department would be interested in doing any kind of.
We can look into that.
Yeah.
We can look into that, absolutely. We can look into anybody around that.
It's
So while we're,
educational, you know, for, basically it's educational for kids, but it gives them a good start on. It's like I was telling these ladies when my children were in school, I would tell them, get involved in theater work because it gives you a presence, it gives you poise, you can talk to people, and it helps when you get older, just like this gentleman here. He's up here talking to all of us, and he has poise, and he knows what he's talking
you
about.
didn't say that about me.
Well, because you haven't taken any drama. I get drama from you, but you haven't taken it.
But don't go, that's cute.
In any case, it's something for kids to, you know, to use later when they grow older.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wondered whether or
That's
not
good.
they would be interested in.
And we can come back to those finer points and addressing those details,
Yeah.
who we need to talk to about what, because we do have some communications out there already, but we can do that as we get closer.
Yeah, question. In regards to, we talked about Head Start. Oh, I'm sorry. We talked about Head Start. Wouldn't that be something that would, you know, could possibly include a collaboration with the Gary School Corporation? Because what I'm thinking now, what we've talked about so far is kind of after-hour usage.
No. Well, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to answer for all of us. My idea about the, what?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Monitor. My thoughts about the Gary Community School Corporation, I would like for us to, I don't need this to sound like being burned, but I'd like for us to distance ourselves, to remain independent if at all possible. Not that we would not learn from whatever formats or curriculum they may have had. I'm not trying to simply just stand off. So if anybody is thinking of something else, because we have a very strong, you may not know it, but between Patrice and Letitia, who's a remote participant, and we've got a couple others that are actually educators. That I believe, there we go. I believe we can actually do this without involving the Gary Community School Corporation, and we're going to talk some more about the finer points of that for that age group. Yeah, so that we're just really developing those children at that age, so that when they come up, we won't be having the same conversation in our community about can you pass the P-test. You know, ideally, you know.
So this is my thought process on it. Okay, so right now, Gary Public Schools has a school that is dedicated to preschool, and they are closing it. Yes. They are trying to dissolve that school with about 600 students and dissolve them throughout the city in schools that they already have admitted are overcrowded. Yes. They're putting our very, very little and most vulnerable ones in a position where they're going to have traumatic and possibly reduced quality for education when they already had a system in place because they want to save money. So I don't want to partner with people who can't manage their money. You know, does that make sense? Because people are depending on us to make quality decisions about what happens to the money that they're giving us for this to happen. And if we're going to be doing that, we need to be able to honestly say to them that we have analyzed the numbers, we have analyzed the outcomes, and these are the things that affect our bottom line, and these are the things that are going to affect the quality or measurable rate of quality with what we're doing with the money that you gave us. Partnering with Gary Public School Corp is not going to, we can't do that right now.
So Karen, tell me where you,
That they have.
Yeah, they're not keeping open the ones that they have.
You're gonna, she had another question. I was gonna, go ahead, go ahead.
Did you want to finish?
No, I was just gonna ask Karen what she was thinking about it. Was there some sort of component that you think?
We had talked earlier about Head Start. I was thinking that is the organization that's getting funding for that kind of.
They are, but you know what? We also have some pretty strong contenders for early childhood education in the city of Gary, like Genesis.
Yeah.
And some other programs that are really fighting hard to supplement our underserviced area. So we can be a part of that and create our own thing that is focused completely on Aetna, and then start creating revenue from that. Because if we have a provider, there's state grants available for the number of children that we enroll. If we create a pathway to quality location, which we absolutely can do, and we have the educators in this area who are willing to work for someone other than Gary Public School Corp. Okay. With that, you have the opportunity not only to generate revenue in addition to what we're doing as far as it being a community center, but now you have the opportunity to create an educational opportunity for these kids that we're hoping are going to be planting themselves and sticking around in this community. Okay. So we don't want to partner with people who won't cooperate and who we can't trust.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I'm going to play, I shouldn't say this, but devil's advocate, right? So correct. So we're in negotiations with them, right? We want them to give us, or to sell us their building. They don't have to, right?
According to Peggy Hinkley, the reason that she is giving us an unfavorable, if you were looking in your package, you guys, is because she wants to get the maximum amount of money for each property to recoup the $19 million of their debt. But here's the deal, Pickles, with that. So you're trying to maximize on the property, but you're not really investing in the children who are currently in your system. That's a major, that's to me doesn't make very much sense, because the state pays you based off of your mobility rates, and mobility, for you guys who don't understand that, is how we're graded throughout the state. Mobility is how the ratio of students who enroll at the beginning of the school year transfer out of the district or into charter schools or other schools that are local to us that are not Gary Public Schools.
Let me interrupt you.
Go ahead.
So this is what I need to do. We're gonna let you continue with your line of questioning and everything else you need to say. We're gonna get to Dave, but we're gonna give you your own show. Because we're gonna be running out of time. Okay. So we're gonna have to, go ahead, Mr. Kyle.
Okay, now, this is the tape What I'm hearing is, yet the tank is not together. And
I'm not the tank, I'm in proxy of somebody, I'm supposed to be shutting up and taking notes.
The reason why you
What do you
said,
mean not together?
the reason why I said that is because have you been anywhere within the city, the state, or any other state and looked at something that you want and see how they're performing, what are they doing to be able to keep the programs going, how long the programs are going, the failures, the...
I have, because I'm the president of Gary's PTSA. I'm not a part of the tank yet, but I will be by the end of the night. So just so we're clear, in St. Louis, Missouri, there's a program called SLATE, S-L-A-T-E. It is a program that works with children in elementary schools all the way up until they graduate from high school, that does community arts services and things like that. They have schools that are dedicated in their school system called community education centers, where you can have children between the ages of 3 and up to 18 that can come in at any time to participate in any of their programs, and as long as they're city residents, it's covered. It's a 3-part problem that we're having.
Right, I understand what you're saying. You're intelligent in what you're saying, but the thing is this, you got to realize, is that area, are they strapped for cash?
They are.
All right.
The city of St. Louis is most definitely strapped for cash.
Okay.
But they're finding a way to do it because they're also taking advantage of grant opportunities throughout the state and federal.
Right. So.
Well, I would just say that Chicago is strapped for cash, but they got a little bit more cash than we do. And access to capital and funding. So I think that's, most cities in America are in debt.
Right.
We look at it from that perspective. I just want to quickly...
But the question still wasn't asked.
Yeah.
It was what she said, what she did.
The group, have you actually did any survey?
We've been waiting for you to come along.
No, I'm
So
saying,
let me ask you very seriously.
before we actually jump off into something, you need to be able to go and find pros and cons on anything you're doing. You were right as far as buying a building, what you're going to have to do with the building. Now you're going to have to find somewhere to make sure you maintain the building.
That's sustainability.
What, in other words, is there something where you say you don't want to have the city involved? You've got to realize that maybe in some cases the city will be involved because you're in the city.
Of course.
So you can't just say you're not going to be involved.
I think that you misunderstood what I said as far as not involving the city in the process. We're here. The city has to be involved in the process.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, who is going to have the ability to make appropriate decisions about the processes that we're doing for this program? I don't want the city and me. This is not, like I said, I'm not a part of the tank yet. I'm just here in proxy. I'm supposed to be taking notes and shutting my mouth. But there's some things that have to be addressed, because right now, with the current situation politically in our city, is that we need to make sure that order has been maintained before we add them to that mix. It is our purpose is to make sure that our purpose is supposed to be to connect it. It's not supposed to be to disconnect it or to have somebody trying to ruin it.
Hang on. Okay, we're gonna come back to you.
Let you
finish that one. You were gonna say something else? Okay.
727.
Yeah, so let me just quickly say, I think that, and again, this is an open space, right? We're going to have a diversity of opinion, diversity of views. I think that we shouldn't get caught up in the politics, right? That we have to focus on the process. And if we're going to acquire government-owned property, government entities will be involved, right? And so, there are good things happening in the city, right? We just got a $15 million grant from the state, right, that the city is being entrusted to handle. And we also just got an announcement of Fulcrum Bioenergy, which is going to have a $600 billion investment, right? So there are private companies, and the state is participating with the city. And so I would submit to you and to all of us that we should be prepared to work with the city. I think to the great commitment of Glenn Ryan's perspective is that, and that goes into, I think, what we were talking about earlier in terms of purpose of the building. And as part of that process, the tank would need to look at best practices, look at best in class for a facility like this, right? That's down the road. But I think that it is something that is beginning to do now. I would just throw out there, and this is probably maybe moving into funding the academy, if there are some entrepreneurial opportunities that can be generated in the academy, I have to confirm this, but the opportunity zone, which everyone's talking about, a lot of developers are talking about, which Trump has now unleashed, may be an opportunity as well. And basically that is, there's tax benefits, et cetera, for developers to develop in areas that are economically depressed. And so there might be a developer, right, who would partner with us in that light. We have to explore that. But we should put Trump Opportunity Zones as one of the potential items under funding the academy. Can I move to funding the academy?
Actually, we've got Dave to present.
Gotcha, okay.
And you're gonna come back at, number 6.
Perfect.
Well, I have to agree with William because
Dave, may I have you come on up to the podium? Would you mind? Talk to us.
I'm not good at this, but okay.
Sorry, you were a sportscaster.
No, he was a sportscaster.
Right.
Yes. Right.
I have to agree with William on this. The thing is, find a purpose and then build a vision around that purpose, and then align yourselves. Get it by any means. I mean, make friends with anyone, even the school system, if need be. If there's something they can contribute to it, don't say no to anybody right out of hand. I would just suggest that. I would also say that build a vision, and then build your partnerships and your get grants, get anything you can to try to get the funding you can. Because if you can make some sort of bid on the building you want, all they can say is no. You might as well make the bid. But right now, I think the main thing is to get a budget. I looked into community foundations. That might be one avenue to do, like the Legacy Foundation. Build something like that. There's a lot of leeway in what community foundations can do, what they can fund, as long as it's for the good of the community. That's one thing that might be an option, a very good option. And then you could build an endowment from that, grants, an endowment, and then you could fund things out of that endowment. It's like a perpetuity. You can make money off of the investment that you want, and from that money, go ahead and fund what you need. That's really about it. I mean, that's my suggestion.
Any questions for Dave?
I have a comment,
Sure.
please.
Oh, you have a microphone.
I'm happy to be a part of this think tank. I'm listening to everyone, and I like to up the bar. I think everyone is thinking too traditionally. The way the world is going, the way America and everything is going through technology. And that might seem like a rather trite thing right now, but technology is the key to future progress and is here to stay. So I would suggest, let me give you a little background also about the bricks and mortar of buildings, school buildings, shopping centers, and what have you. Especially when it comes to schools, it's too much of a liability anymore for kids to actually go to school. Kids will be educated in the comfort of their homes, and that's where the thrust is. And Gary is part of that. The safety reasons as well, traveling in and out of different communities, the insurance that goes along with the student itself. Many of the buildings here in Gary, the school buildings, are old, dilapidated. That building you're talking about would require a lot of money to rehab, refurbish. So my suggestion would be, if you were to acquire that building or any building, is another choice, the possibility of creating among educators an actual education center that would actually teach kids
to be able to log into your website and get its training and learning from what you have established and will monitor according to state rules and regs. So now you're up in the ante for that building. That would actually become a center, educational center.
Okay.
Right.
Can we come back and revisit that one? So we want to keep it all, keep everything, of course, in the purview of what we've already detailed. So unless you wanted to add that to our, what number was that? To our number 2, our Roman number 2 is another purpose for the building, because that seems like another component. We would add on the
technology. You know, so that way we stay focused within the arts. I think that's really critical. The other final piece regarding early childhood, I'm also a master's in early childhood education. So, and have worked for Head Start, so that's how I got my start. So I'm thinking like the Erickson Institute, the Jeffrey Ballet, those could all be our partners. Okay, so this is something to throw out there.
Excellent.
Those are really good points about education. The only thing I was thinking about was the performing arts. You're going to need a building, you're going to need a stage, because those are by definition more group type activities. But yeah, those are all excellent points.
Right, but even in the performing arts,
There's a technology.
there's a technology big time.
Okay. Then let's come back to that. Let's revisit it to expedite time a little more. I want to go ahead and let you continue. Did you have something more you wanted to add?
That was it. I mean, I'm open to doing whatever the group decides to do. I can take whatever your suggestions are as far as funding. We can explore some options as far as investments and to see how best the money would be used to serve the community. I mean, that's what it's all about.
But everybody understands right now, we don't have 2 nickels to rub together, right? Okay. Actually, well, you'll see down further, our budget consists of $101. Thank you, Marge. Okay.
We need to get to some, find that purpose, like William suggested, and then make the vision, and then get to writing grants and getting partners.
Absolutely. Okay. My turn again. And I need exactly 3 minutes to stop me, because we're gonna, my goal is to be out here by 8. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Oh, and you'll hear back from me. We'll let you know. Okay. All right, so let's run through this real fast. Can you guys see the clipboard, the easel ready? Okay. Everybody see okay? No? Whatever, Patrice, get over here. Move the podium out of the way. Okay. So this is what we're looking at for Aetna Elementary right now. So before we put out all these things, and I just wanted to address Oscar's point again about what we have or have not done. Remember, this is our second meeting, and this is the first meeting that we've actually even allowed the public to come into. Otherwise, it's just us talking. You know, our first meeting was just us talking. So that we've got a long way to go, but we're dialoguing. And we wanted to bring the community in to find out what you guys are thinking, because we're not going to try to do this all by ourselves. If it's going to be an Aetna project, we want to involve Aetna. So we want all of us to come to the table, as many of all of us as we can, because we know usually when something happens, it's going to take a handful of people that really make it happen for the mass. So we're willing to put the work in here with the work group. So anyway, so what we're looking at right now is Aetna Elementary is, according to the last bid list that we just got, that Will has, of course, is at $648,500. Please excuse my back to you. Uh-oh, that's not Daddy, so we, come on in, Pastor Hill. Can I talk to you now? Okay. And then we don't have a price yet for that in the community club, but remember, this may be something that's covered under the remix, so we don't have to really focus our attention on this right now. We'll come back to this. But what is it going to take if right now, because we're of course talking about money, so otherwise, if we, as I said, we don't have 2 nickels to rub together right now, but that's a small detail, because I'll tell you this on the spiritual end. When the Lord has ordained for a vision to be done, then He provides the funding, so the God of the provision, the God of the vision is also the God of the provision. So we are going to do everything we've got to do to put those things, those mechanisms in place. So as I prayed earlier that He would give us wisdom and revelation, He's going to give us favor to get things done. So our responsibility is to listen, to pray, think, be intelligible about it, and make sure our approach is feasible and reasonable. So what is it? What can we do to raise this amount? Or what and how much should we bid? What do you think it's actually worth? And I think I asked on where I just put, I asked on there, what does that include? Because we've got the building sitting there. The building sits on like, I don't know how to measure that. Husband, what is that? Maybe how much lake land is that sitting on? You got a guess?
Estimate probably about.
Oh, somebody else had it? How many acres? Councilman, you know?
I'd say at least 10 acres.
About 10 acres. The building itself, where the parking lot is,
All parking.
Yeah, right.
but it also has a property down the street. Okay.
How many square feet?
How many you're asking me to tell me?
How many square feet?
No,
Yeah, taking a guess for the school. You got a good guess?
No, I'm just
Oh.
saying, that's what you determine, how much it's gonna cost them to do.
Oh, by the square footage. Okay, so the building plus the land it's sitting on, and then right down the street on, I lied. Plus the land right down the street. Listen, the Lord see me lie everywhere. Because I'm lying, I just have to go back to him and repent. In the church, behind the club. No, Lord, I ain't. But I got too late. Too late. He knows. He knows. Okay.
I have a question. How long has this building not been in use?
Over 20 years.
Over 20.
Well, since 2003, 13 to 15 years has been closed.
Okay, so if I were going to ask for this as a commercial person, then I would probably ask for like $95,000 because right now it's no purpose, there's no taxes really doing anything with it. It's a purposeless building, it's a sword.
Okay, give it
$95,000.
$95,000 will be your bid. Oh, where's my Go ahead.
Well, that is generous of you.
I don't know if this is an option or not, but there's an organization called the DK Devils.
Yes.
And I read in the newspaper that they purchased the Union train station for $10. The city allowed them to purchase that, and it's not being utilized like this building would be, so I would think that,
$10 is a good deal. I got $10.
well,
We got $101. I don't know which we outbid you already.
It wouldn't hurt to just say, we're gonna be using this building, to benefit all the children and all the, the community. And say, for $10, we're gonna fix it.
Right.
The building needs probably $1 million.
Well, here's the thing, and you guys all have the letter. You guys all have the letter. If you look in your package, you got the letter that we sent to Dr. Hinckley's response to us. So the letter we initially generated, sent to her, asking her to, ultimately, we want you to donate the building. So we weren't trying to be insulting at all, but really we want to start at what we thought was, just to ask, right? You can only say no. But in the meantime, whatever we choose to bid, we're going to start at $95,000 and just making the point that whatever we're choosing to bid.
Start at $1 and just make $95,000.
Absolutely. And actually, they can, I wish Cullen were here, but Cullen is very, he has a lot of details about this. But anyway, well, I'm sure Councilman Brewer would mind. I don't know if that's compromising you. Okay. He puts up with me a lot. He crossing the line. Pushing me across the line. Okay. So whatever it is, we raising this amount or making a reasonable bid of what we think is a reasonable bid. My time?
Question, before making that bid, is anybody go do an inspection on it to see how much that's worth?
Yes, that's why the construction persons are here. So Dave Castellanos isn't here tonight. I don't know where Dave is right now. But then, of course, Daryl with Muhammad's Construction. So we've got construction workers that are actually going to do that. And even in that bid letter, that bid information letter, this is the Gary Community School Corporation invitation to submit bids on real estate, amended notice to bidders, bid 18-1 GCSE property. And it says specifically, this is where we got the last price on it. You guys don't have this, but if anybody wants a copy, you can take this one. One is Dave. Oh, husband, this was yours. Interested bidders may request a date and time to inspect the properties by calling attorney Tracy Coleman. It's got her number here. That's yours.
15 minutes.
So, I got 15 minutes? Okay.
And I know you keep mentioning as far as about mistaking now, and I was told as far as reading the paper,
she is no longer gonna be, that's a chair, that's gonna be turned over to, can't think what his name is.
Maria.
Okay.
Dr.
He-
Sam Maria.
Okay, he wants nothing to do with the building, selling the money. It's turned over to the company that he's working for, will be handling all of that.
Okay, which company is this? Did you just say? Oh, I thought you said which company.
Well,
Well, we'll invest,
I'll give you the card, because it's in my purse.
okay, we'll look into that, whichever company it is. So right now, we're keeping up notes, make sure we know what our homework is, because that's the bottom line. So when we leave here tonight, every one of us has an assignment. We've got something we need to do. And those of you, I'm gonna ask in a little while, how many of you are, well, we'll get to that, so you'll figure out why you've been baited to come in here in the first place, okay? Okay, so we're talking about what we would actually bid for this building. But go ahead.
I have a comment. It may appear that the building is sitting there and they're not being used, but the school district is definitely not losing any money from it because they can.
Hang on, ladies. Hang on. Zulie and Marge, we want to make sure we hear you. Go ahead, Martine. I'm sorry, let me tell you.
They can use, every school in here is a tax write-off. And so when you start talking about a good bid, we need an accountant or someone who understands that if they're getting, let's say $500,000 off the building being defunct, then we would have to look at that, consider, you're in real estate?
Yeah, they wouldn't have taxes. Their taxes,
But
they have
aren't-
personnel taxes.
But aren't they able to write the value of that building off?
There's no tax. They don't have a tax. They don't have taxable income.
Okay.
Yeah.
So break that down to me again. So that means essentially that
It's of no value to them.
It doesn't, I mean, it's a cost in the terms that they gotta do it with.
The maintenance.
If they were to actually maintain it.
Right.
It may have insurance.
That's
tied
what
to
we.
it, I'm sure.
Okay.
I would hope. And so those are ongoing maintenance costs.
So that's the most we're thinking.
Right.
So your point behind that, you wanted to say?
No, I was just gonna say, if they were doing it as a write-off,
Okay.
they would still be benefiting from it.
Okay. All right.
Can I just say, I think the first step that has to be made is you have to see the inside of the facility.
Absolutely. Right.
Before we even go to the next step, because you might find out it might be, okay, we need to jump on this right away, or we need to walk away from this part, it's too far gone. I say that because I know when the Rock Church was putting in the bid for Lou Wallace High School, they were trying to really make sure they got that bid in once Lou Wallace had closed. They didn't want the power to go off, and then pipes freeze, and once a building closes after so long, if you get your house light turned on so long, you got to bring everything up to code. It's very expensive to bring something up to code. And we're talking about a big building that's been closed over 20 plus years. There's no telling how the plumbing is, the mechanicals is inside that building. So that alone is in the millions of dollars. So we're not even talking about the structure of the building or the roof. I know Emerson, before they closed Emerson School, they put $1 million just in on the roof itself. So there's a number of things just that can get you in the door that runs into the millions of dollars. So we need to see exactly what the building is to see if we can buy what we look at. Even going to the school corporation, it's not so much I believe that the bid is the problem. They want to make sure whoever gets the property, they can handle it, they can maintain what they're going to give it. So if you can come with a plan and you can come with a financial that you can handle it, I don't care what they may have on paper. They may almost say, hey, you can take it because this will be a good use for the community. But I think we have to have some things together first. The first thing is to see if the building is really worth that investment, then put the dollars together, how you're going to reach those goals there.
Exactly. So these are all things we.
Just one thing real quick. And that's piggybacking on my brother Brewer. We don't want to put the cart before the horse. And without a doubt, you want to know where you're at as far as what the building is worth before you can't even say what you want to bid on something unless you know what it's worth. So the first step would be to go in to see even if it's feasible to even go in and try to do anything to the building. The building may have to be torn down. I know 1 year, if a building doesn't have a water source, all the pipes gone, because the water is in the pipes. It's freezing, expands. When water freezes, it expands. Everything's messed up there. So you looking at the plumbing. So you can just look at everything being gone. After all these years, everything, and now the structure of the building. You know, we have to really, well, without a doubt, we don't even know if the roof, okay, if the roof is in it.
And we know it's got to have asbestos in it because of the
Absolutely. So this is I don't want to put any cramps in it, but I'm real. And if we're going to put energy in it, real energy in it, we got to know the facts. Let's get the facts of what's going on with it, and then go from there. That's why I think we should.
Okay.
Ms. Love.
Yeah.
This question, maybe you can answer that. If, let's just say, you made them a bid of, let's just say, 500,000, and they said yes, would they require you to show them that they have the money, that you have the money?
Absolutely. You got to pay it.
Yes.
So before making a bid, you got to have cash.
We wouldn't even make a bid before we did, we had,
Or some-
we would.
Because we are people of integrity, we wouldn't make a bid before that. So that's part of what the road we're going down. I'm trying to get us out of here by 8 o'clock, so unless you guys want to stay a little longer, I don't know what time Pinnacle is putting us out. But I'd like to make sure we've got.
This is my wrestling time.
Okay, so we want to be very respectful of their time. But we're not doing anything, as my husband was saying, we've already had this discussion, we're not putting the cart before the horse. So all the discussion that you guys are actually hearing in the audience, there's some things we've already discussed in the tank. So when you look down on your agenda, there's some things we've already been discussing, and then from our previous notes. So we want to make sure, one of the things, of course, is our aid number 1 is for the construction people at the table to go in and see the building. I just read the clause there in the bid that says that anytime you want to go in, I'm assuming, like if you were selling your home, anybody that's coming in that wants to buy it, well, of course, will tell us, that you don't just open up your home and say anybody just come on in and look at it. You know, you want to have serious buyers, people that got money on the table, that's got pre-approved, pre-qualified before you start showing your house. You're not just going to show it to anybody. So we're not looking just to go in a building just to look around. We want to be serious. So this isn't something we're looking to do. We're not expecting to turn this over within the next month, the next year even. We're expecting to put all the groundwork in place, put everything in place, build this infrastructure. We have a plan. So within the by next year and the year after, we are really looking at how we build our funds. We have to do some serious fundraising.
Right.
We have to do some really seriously thinking about how we can really make this happen. So it's not a wishing and a hoping and a praying. We're talking about really doing this. And I think all of us that are here for the tank, and probably those of you that are in the audience, are serious about seeing something happen. And so this is where I get back down to this point. So we've been asking how can we raise this amount? What will be our serious bid? Then, how can we raise this amount, and how long will it take us, realistically? How long will it take us to do what actually needs to be done? So referring back to that Roman numeral 2 about the purposes we want, what the purpose will be for this building, for this property, how long is it really going to take us to really be feasible about it? Okay, so we're not going to have any illusions. It's not just a little old pipe dream. All right, so then, are you willing to do what it takes? This is where you sign on the dotted line. This is where you say, I'm all in. So for the think tank, the tank here, we've said we're all in, and those of you that are in the audience, we need your help. We are appealing to you. And so I made a lot of calls, a lot of text messages, a lot of emails since we've had our last meeting, and then out canvassing the street. I've been knocking on doors personally, myself. I haven't asked anybody from the tank to do this. I'm all in, and I'm just asking you if you even match my efforts or just come alongside, that I believe we can get this done. I don't believe it's something that's way out far in the future. So So unless someone comes in and just bids us out, just overbids us or whatever the terminology is, outbids us and comes and gets the building or gets the property, whether we have to go in and gut the building or the building has to be completely demolished, we want the property. We want whatever adjacent properties go along with it. We want whatever, go ahead.
I think that, and this is kind of my life philosophy, business philosophy, is that we should not tie our vision to a property. And there's no reason why we can't start doing some of these things now. And I think that will help with the fundraising. It will help with the proof of concept. If we start doing arts classes, right, at churches, right, if we start showcasing that there is a need for it and that there's interest in it, that will then give you something to talk about on the GoFundMe page, right? So I'd say number one, let's not get caught up with the building. For all we know, we can get a grant tomorrow from the state of Indiana and the building will be torn down this time next year, right? So that doesn't mean that the importance of what we want to do should go away just because the building is no longer available, right? And I do think that really before, as has been said, before we can really talk about how much we would bid or all the rest, we really do need to know, or even what we want to do in there. Like if there are certain sections of the building that aren't feasible anymore, that might change even the programming around what we would do in the building. So I think that really has to be first and foremost, and I think we have to be probably pretty quick on that as well as all the rest of it, because we have no idea what conversations are happening as it relates to it. And we should just start now.
Absolutely. So, and we're starting now. You got one?
No, I don't. Y'all.
We took your money.
Oh, I didn't know.
See? No, go ahead and apologize. Go ahead and apologize. You want me to give you one?
No, I was
Maybe
wrong.
waffles.
See, I can even.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, I know that we got educators on the panel right now. I'm getting my master's in education, but I volunteer right now about 40 to 50 hours with Gary Public Schools, and I am considering significantly scaling back. So if you would like Aetna, for me to volunteer with you to do arts programming, mentoring, something like that, let me know and I can strike up a proposal.
Yes.
And if you guys can help me with supply costs and give me a space to do it in, I will give you those hours.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
That's
so
fun.
she knows.
You got Lily to vouch for you in, girl. You
She
in.
knows me. She knows that I'm all art, but I bleed paint. But I've worked with McKinney for the last 3 years when she first came back to Gary. And anything that she's ever asked me to do, I just go ahead and help her with it because I know she's a really strong person and she wouldn't ask me to do something that she herself wouldn't do. So I have, like I said, a mentoring program called Bionic Mentors, and we supplement programming. Like if you need someone to help you write appropriate programming for grant participation and things like that, that's what I do. I tutor little ones. I work with babies to grown-ups. People like me a lot.
I can tell, we can tell.
I'm a classy person. So, but I am willing to volunteer. I am willing to do that. But the other thing too, if we're going to start creating that conversation and that dialogue about volunteering, you need to go to Work One because they have people who are unemployed who need something to do and to develop those social or work skills. Yeah. This is a good way to get them involved and then say, hey, Work One is in support of our whatever, and we want to eventually maybe employ some of these people to participate.
Okay.
Now you have a different way to create an opportunity for people who live in our community.
That was Kim. Okay. All right. What's my time? What time is it? Okay. Everyone, make sure if you're not an A.M.R.P. member, you probably don't have a leaflet. If you don't, get one from Martina. These little leaflets here. In the leaflet, there's some fundraising ideas that the A.M.R.P. will be engaging in within the next year or two. And you'll see some of them on our name tags. It has A.M.R.P. in the grade area. And then there also, if you're interested in becoming a member of the A.M.R.P., this group is just a project of. But their membership, Martina has that too. Also, for anyone that's interested in being a circulator. If you have people in the community within this district, first district, that's Aetna, Glen, Ryan, Miller, and East Emerson, East Emerson. You can take a petition sheet, have them, you can take 1 or 2, have them sign off their interest, get a phone number and an email address, kind of an immediate contact. So we'll be calling them to get to engage them. So as I said to you earlier, I probably contacted about 80, 100 people in however many, but look around, see how many people are actually here tonight. So we need to really get a lot of community involvement so that we can advance our efforts so none of us are burned out. Because really, I don't need another meeting in my life, believe you me, and I'm sure many of you don't need another meeting in your life. But this is a goal, a plan that's worth kind of exhausting ourselves on, I believe. So, but we want to do things in a decent order. So, just one more thing, and we're going to, unless somebody has something else they can say within the next 20 seconds, we are going to adjourn. But I'll make sure I need to have everybody in the tank. I need your email address. It is imperative that I have an email address that you check. That you check. What you mean? Yeah, that you actually check. And or, if I text you, I'd rather email you because sometimes the information I share may be voluminous and I may contain an attachment. But because I'm going to follow up with you to find out what you thought about tonight's meeting and where you want to see us go from here. So as I said, make sure you check the fundraisers on the back, and if there's some other ideas that you have, some of them I can't read in the house of the Lord. But it is a fundraiser. It's not like a loving or nothing like that. Oh,
I'm so nervous right now. I don't even know what it is, but I just want to.
Nevertheless, Lord, they're not gonna let us back in. All because of me, right? Everybody, all y'all can come. Penny got to stand up.
I want to Google and figure out what it is.
Anyway, okay. Any other comments within the next 20 seconds? You got 20 seconds on the countdown.
I'm gonna hold it in.
You'll be able to find this on our Pinnacle of Faith YouTube page. I'm going to label it Aetna Manor Ventilation Program.
Ventilation.
Going viral.
I can't let you get
away.
We can do a little editing too.
I am busted. Don't let my daddy see this.
Oh my goodness.
So that way you can share with everybody.
Oh, yes. We do have, we're all done because we're going to end with prayer, and I've got a couple of announcements we need to make. Jasmine, would you mind just doing those community announcements actually real fast?
Okay, hey y'all. Thank you. Okay, so the Gary Chamber of Commerce will hold its first monthly general membership luncheon of the new year on Monday, January 14th, 2019 at 11:30 a.m. at the Diamond Center, which is located at 500 East 5th Avenue right here in Gary.
Make sure you guys note this, please.
The featured guest speaker will be the Honorable Karen Freeman Wilson, who is the mayor of the city of Gary. Mayor Freeman Wilson will share her vision for 2019 and give an overview on issues that will affect the city of Gary, Northwest Indiana, and the business community. The meeting luncheon is open to all interested parties. The cost is $20 per person, and you can call the chamber office at 219-885-7407 to reserve your seats or tables today. The doors will open at 11 a.m.
Do you know how much it's gonna cost for a table?
I don't. You have to call that number. So let me give you the number again. 219-885-7407. Okay, and luncheon sponsorships are available as well. So they do suggest that to avoid the lines at the door that you do make payments in advance. And they do accept American Express, MasterCard, and Visa credit and debit cards. Also, the Morning Bishop Theater Playhouse Incorporated.
Morning Bishop is McKenya's theater.
Give big ups to my girl.
That is the Lake Street Theater's 2018 production of Just in Time for Christmas by Miss McKenya Dilworth is happening again on December 14th and 15th at 7 p.m. There's a Sunday matinee on the 16th, that's this weekend at 3 p.m., and then again on December 21st and 22nd at 7 p.m. For information, you can call 219-308-7630, and you can also ask about group rates. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for students, as well as for seniors. It's an incredible acting ensemble, so you guys definitely support them. And that's going to be at the Lake Street Theater, which is located at 394 South Lake Street, right here in Gary. And again, their number is 219-308-7630. Then we have the Taste, Shop, and Paint. Please join Chef Tasha Tanay and Netflix Sugar Rush winner, Chef Black Shelton. The admission is $10, which includes food. It's $15 at the door.
Interrupt you.
Yes.
The Black Shelton, the chef, we're going to hopefully we'll be trying to use him this year for our Fall Family Fun Fest in memory of Corporal Charles Turner of Gary Police Department. We weren't able to get him, but we hope to get him for this year, so I'm hoping you guys will come and at least try. Okay.
Yes. And that's on December 14th. Okay, so that's actually tomorrow, you got it. Okay, it's from 6 to 9 p.m. It's going to be at the Art House, a social kitchen, which is located at 411 East 5th Avenue, right here in Gary. Okay, and for vendor information contact, you can call Tasha Tanay at 219-671-9333, or you can call Chef Black at 260-758-0487. Again, that's the Taste, Shop, and Paint. Okay, it's going to be signature food and desserts, a cash bar, vendors, painting, music, door prizes.
You can't say cash bar in church.
Oh, Lord, forgive. Okay, well, you can call them and ask what else they're doing, but it sounds like it's going to be really fun, okay? And then again, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow from 6 to 9 p.m. Okay? And let's see, last but not least, this is...
Oh, you know what? I'll do this one.
Okay. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Cass. Thank you so very much. The last one is Patricia Brown from the Gary Historic Society, who's assumed the position of Naomi Millender, our warmly remembered Naomi Millender, who's a part of our tank. I didn't get a chance to read her bio for you guys. We just rushed right into the meeting. But I want you to remember her fondly. Those of you that knew her, otherwise look her up online. You'll find out she has such a great legacy, and we want to honor her with everything we actually do in her memory, that she was kind of kicking me in the butt, make sure it happened. But Patricia Brown has extended an invitation to us to attend the Historic Preservation Commission on January 9, 2019 at 3 p.m. This is under the leadership, she said they're sitting under the leadership with our mayor to help preserve Gary's history, people, and culture. Our next meeting is January 9, 2019 at 3 p.m. We encourage our citizens to attend and present their community support for preserving different sites. The meeting is held in the Cleo Wesson Lounge at City Hall. So any of us that can attend, please make a note of that and be there, please, if at all possible. Any other comments? Now we got 10 seconds. Okay, good. Will, would you mind leaving us in clear? Would you all stand for us, please? And thank you guys so very much for coming. Really appreciate you. Hope everybody got signed in and you got an agenda. Okay.
All right, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for our community. And we ask that you will bless this community, that you will touch this community, that you will enlarge and strengthen and empower this community. We ask that you will help us to be vessels of change, vessels of transformation, vessels of you and all that you represent, that your kingdom will come, and that we in our own ways will be kingdom builders. We pray for our leader, Penny Love, and her family, that she will continue to have the energy and the wisdom and the resolve to do your work in this community. We ask that you will bless all of us and bless those who are less fortunate during this holiday season, and those who are hurting with sad memories of lost loved ones. We ask you will wrap your arms around the city of Gary and the community of Aetna. And we'll forever give you the praise, the glory, and the thanks. In your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
If you guys don't mind, help us put these chairs, all these